Welcome to Resonance on Location, a new video series where we explore locations throughout beautiful San Luis Obispo County, get to know some of our singers, both old and new, and indulge in some small group singing together. Episode 2 is headed your way right now. For today's episode, we take a drive to Los Osos, California, a beautiful coastal town of 14,000 that lies between the county seat of San Luis Obispo and Morro Bay. Los Osos is home to Montaña de Oro State Park, a gorgeous stretch of undeveloped coastline where you can enjoy extensive hiking trails and gorgeous beaches. It's a great place to capture a photo or two, if I do say so myself. Not far away, you can enjoy a walk through cavernous eucalyptus groves, or on the north side of town, explore the rare flora and fauna of the Elfin Forest, overlooking the Morro Bay National Estuary. Nature is in no short supply here. St. Benedict's Episcopal Church, which lies just outside of town to the southeast, has been the rehearsal home of Resonance for the past 3 summers. While based in San Luis Obispo, performing our summer concerts and making our annual recordings in Mission San Luis Obispo de Tolosa, we like to think of Los Osos as a second home. It's home for Resonance singers Brian Spolarich and Alan Kiste, and for this episode, they have graciously invited us in to catch up and enjoy a little music making. Thanks for joining us.
Pastime with good company, I love and shall until I die. Grew to lust, but none deny, so God be pleased, thus live will I. For my pastimes on sing and dance, my heart is set, O goodly sport, for my comfort, who shall me let? Company with honesty is virtue vices to flee. Company is good and ill, but every man has his free will. The best ensue, the worst eschew, my mind shall be virtue to use, vice to refuse, thus shall I use me.
Well, good afternoon, Resonance fans. We're here in Los Osos at the home of Brian Spolarich and Alan Kiste, a couple of great singers from Resonance. We decided to do something a little different for this episode. We're calling it a living room session. So from the barrel room of a winery to a living room with a nice glass of beer.
In Los Osos.
Yes, in Los Osos. Toast, everybody. Yeah. So what you just heard there was a little music from Henry VIII. Who knew, right? A little Renaissance piece, Pastime with Good Company, which is what we're doing here today. How are you doing today, guys?
Great, fantastic.
Great. Well, thanks for hosting us and for this episode and preparing some music for us to enjoy.
It's super fun.
Yeah. And so, Brian, we'll start with you. Brian's been a member of Resonance now. This would have been his 4th season with us. He started back in 2017, back on we made our Living Water album.
Right.
So,
right.
How many different ways have I heard your name said?
Yeah.
All right, what's good?
I have a story on that. My father passed away last year. And I went to his funeral, and he served in the Coast Guard, and so so he was buried in military honors, which means that folks from the VFW are dispatched to the funeral, and they do a standard. There's a standard. I don't know if you've ever been to a service with military honors. There's a very standard kind of litany that they use.
I used to play trumpet sometimes at Air Force funerals. I'd play taps.
Yeah,
I did too in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And so the guy, these people come in cold. You have to have compassion for them. They come in cold, and they just get, they get the service bulletin, and then they just do their thing. And the whole time that they're doing it, they're saying, "Comrade Spolarich." And like every time, it's a really stressful day for me anyway. Every time, like I'm sitting next to my brother, and I'm visibly twitching. And then the guy from my dad's church gets up, who's like the kind of a young pastor, and he says he not only did he mispronounce my dad's last name, he mispronounced his first name at one point. And I said to my brother, I was like, when I die, no matter what happens, you have to pronounce my name correctly, or I will haunt all of you for the rest of your lives.
Spolarich. So, what have you been doing this year?
Spending a lot of time at home, like the rest of the world. So I work for Cal Poly, and I'm a director in the IT department. And since March, we've been working from home. So I have my office in the back part of the house, and Alan has his office in the front part of the house, and we talk to each other and complain at each other about things going on at Cal Poly all day long.
And of course, we live in a beautiful place where, the beach is a mile that way. So how about you, Alan?
I've been working from home. Cal Poly went online, as a lot of people know, back in the spring with about 5 days notice. And I teach chemistry. And so teaching chemistry online is a challenge.
My sister teaches high school chemistry.
Yeah.
I'm learning that too. And so Alan's been with us. This would have been his second season. He joined us back in 2018 for what became our Unum season. And then took last summer off, our Roots season. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about kind of what you were up to last year.
Yeah, so after I got tenure at Cal Poly, they were nice enough to award me a sabbatical, and I spent 6 months at Tianjin University in Tianjin, China. And that happened to coincide with most of the rehearsal time that we would have had for last year's session, so I wasn't able to join. I was really looking forward to coming back this year.
Yeah.
Because I missed you here.
So, well, we missed you. It was a great season. This year would have been a great season, too, the Seasons concert. But now that's going to be our 2021. And 2022 will, I guess, have to be our anniversary season for the 10th year. So, for episode 1, we sang at a winery. So, for this episode, we're going to drink a little beer and sing about Down with the French. So, we're going to sing you a little round by the famous Henry Purcell called Down with Bacchus. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you next time.
Down, down with Bacchus, down with Bacchus, from this hour renounce the great tyrannic power. Whilst in a large Confederate bowl, and mingling virtue, cheer us all. Down with the French, march on to Nantes, for whose dear sake we'll conquer France. And when the inspiring cocks swell high, their hungry juice with scorn defy. Rouse, royal boys, your forces join to rout the Monsieur and his wine. Then the next year our bow shall be quaffed under the vines in Burgundy. Down with Bacchus, down with Bacchus, from this hour renounce the grape's tyrannic power. Whilst in our large Confederate bowl, and mingling virtue, cheer us all. Down with the French, march on to Nantes, for whose dear sake we'll conquer France. was in a
when with
inspiring
curse red high, the hungry heart rejoiced, with scorn defy.
Down with the French,
rouse royal boys of forces joy, to rouse the monsieur and his wines.
as when the inspiring first applied, the meekly conscience heard the sigh. Down the Bacchus, rouse the forces joy, to renounce the nature and his eyes. When in a dungeon's heart confess the boy, and meekly virtue shield the soil. Down with the French, down with the French, must forces joy, to renounce the nature and his wines. When standing on the just light and paths that high, the meekly heart meekly scorn the soil. Rouse, 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 royal boys, your forces join to rout the monsieur and his wine. Then the next year our bow shall be quaffed under the vines in bird.